Taylor from Taylor Talks Tales, back with another book review. I'm very excited about this one because it's back in the genre that I love, which is horror. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Troop by Nick Cutter. Enjoy that cover a lot. Funny enough, I had put off reading this book for quite some time. It's been on my radar for like 2 years, but I think part of it was I was a little hesitant because it has to do with like Boy Scouts, and my family is a big scouting family, so I was just like, oh, I wonder if this can be like too much. And I'd even checked it out about a year ago, started reading it, was enjoying it, but I think I sat down because I sometimes just jump from book to book depending on what my mood is like, so I'd set it down, had to return it. But I started having some more renewed interest in it after somebody had told me, oh, you should just check it out. I really liked it and enjoyed it, so I'm like, all right, I'll pick it up. And I read this a couple days before Thanksgiving, and I think it's hilarious because this has to do with like hunger and eating a lot of just this, eating so much food and not being able to stop and stuff, so I thought it was kind of funny to do that. Anyway, I'm gonna read the blurb and then we'll get started. Once a year, Scoutmaster Tim Riggs leads a troop of boys into the Canadian wilderness for a weekend camping trip. A tradition as comforting and reliable as a good ghost story around a roaring bonfire. But when an unexpected intruder stumbles upon their campsite, shockingly thin, disturbingly pale, and voraciously hungry, Tim and the boys are exposed to something far more frightening than any tale of terror. The human carrier of a bioengineered nightmare, a horror that spreads faster than fear. A harrowing struggle for survival with no escape from the elements, the infected, or one another. Alright, this book is a lot of fun. It's very graphic and gory, very much so. I definitely would suggest, if you haven't really read a lot of horror, to maybe work yourself up a little bit to it, because there's definitely depictions of people's insides and animals' insides and like eating stuff and all that stuff. But pretty much this book follows Scoutmaster Tim and 5 boys. They're on this island, just having a grand old time, and then this man who's like very skeletal and just off arrives at the island, and then things go down because this man is basically carrying this genetically modified tapeworm, like a huge ass tapeworm, and it spread basically almost virally. If you come into contact with the fluids and stuff, that you're going to contract it. And so unfortunately that man dies, and then things really start to go wrong. The bulk of the book is focused on the 5 boys because there's basically Scoutmaster Tim does contract it. Happens very early in the book, so I don't think it's really a spoiler alert. And it's about their dynamics, and the characters are really, I feel like they're pretty well written. You've got each kid with their own things, and there's this one kid named Shelly. Holy crap, he's a psychopath. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then there's this one boy named Newt, and I just was rooting for him the whole time. But there's just a lot going on with that, and it really just becomes a purely survival story, where they're on this island and they end up being quarantined on the island, so they can't get out. They're stuck there. There's no food. There's just stuff going down with these tapeworm monster things, and yeah, it's pretty intense. It keeps you going the entire time, and I really liked that. And I also really enjoyed, there are certain basically there's like a handbook, or there's newspaper articles, or like interviews and stuff like that, and I really liked that as well. I enjoy it when books do that because it kind of gives you a little bit more of a broad perspective on it, so I really enjoyed that they did that in this. Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. I gave it I was toying between like 4.5 or 5 out of stars. 5 out of stars probably. I enjoyed it a lot. I would read it again. It's one of those books where you can reread it. That tends to be a big factor in my rating system, actually, is whether or not I think I would reread it again, because I'm a big rereader. And usually if I just read a book once and it might be well written, it might be a good book, but if it's like not really something I would read again, it's like, it would be maybe a 3 or 4 star. 5-star reads for me are I would read it again because it's an adventure. It's exciting. There's a scene that has a turtle in it, and whoa, because I do want to stress, this book has animal cruelty in it, because with the tests that are being done on animals, in like the science, like basically in the scenes that are on the island, in the test scenes, there's a bunch of stuff going down. One of the characters is a psychopath and kills a kitten, and of course there's the turtle scene. You'll get there. It's could be a bit much for people. I liked it, but that's also because I read a lot in the genre and watch a lot of horror, so I'm kind of a little desensitized to it and was like, fine, but I just do want to stress that out. If you are new to horror, just know what you're getting yourself into. Don't get mad at me if you're like, oh my god, I'm scared for life. But yeah, so this was very exciting, very good. Again, it has this Lord of the Flies vibe, with the survival aspect, and I thought that was like very cool. And it wasn't there, it wasn't very predictable. There were a couple things I kind of thought was coming, and this book does tend to foreshadow a lot, but it's not like, oh, this is just basic or something. And Nick Cutter has some other books out. In fact, I'm going to be doing a library book haul soon, and I'm planning on reading Little Heaven, which is another book of his, and it has to do with like a cult and just something in the woods. And I also love things set in the woods, or on islands. Like this one was really cool because there's this like isolated feeling to it because they're on an uninhabited island off the coast of another uninhabited island. So there's also that feeling of isolation, which I think really adds to the kind of like tension because they're stuck. There's not much on this island, and a couple of them are infected, and what are we gonna do? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to spoil too much. Again, at some point I'm gonna go back and do some spoiler reviews of this for people who have read the book, so we can maybe do some kind of book discussion and talk more about it. But for now, check this out. Highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And thank you so much for watching my video. And again, I'm still fairly new. I love any kind of tips or suggestions. Also, if you have any book recommendations, or if you have any questions about the book or about anything like that, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Happy reading. Bye.